Now to the United States today. This is where it starts to get bleak. Since the general culture today is extremely degraded, oaths are meaningless to most people and looked upon as being quaint and nothing more. The juring process, or the oath-taking process, is, though, going on right now as priests and bishops are being pressured to capitulate to the Obama regime's demand for them to pay for abortion, sterilization, and contraception. All who refuse are being called extremists, zealots, radicals, and engaging in a war on women. It's all playing out in exactly the same way. And the problem we have right now is the faithlessness of the church. There are no men to stand and say no. And if the clergy doesn't stand, then the people won't, the laity won't. That's what's terrifying. Sadly, since the church is itself massively infiltrated by Marxist homosexualists who do not believe in the church and reject Christ, the Eucharist, and the Mass, and who are desperate to maintain the ability to lay off the expense of care of the poor, sick, and elderly on the federal government. That's the key, ladies and gentlemen. It's the money. Over the last however many decades, they have transferred from the church engaging in the corporal works of mercy, which is the care of the sick, the care of the poor, the care of the elderly. The church, infiltrated by these Marxists, has transitioned and has now laid almost 100% of those expenses off on the federal government. And the federal government wanted it. It's all part of the plan, you see? And so now you have these bishops and archbishops and cardinals who sit around in abject terror, not of losing the friendship of Christ, not of mortal sin, not of their flock suffering the pains of hell. No, that's not what any of these bishops and archbishops and cardinals are afraid of. What these men are afraid of is having to actually tap the church coffers to pay for care of the indigent sick, like they did for 2,000 years before, paying for care of the poor, like they did for 2,000 years before, and paying for the care of the elderly, like they did for 2,000 years before. It's all about the money, isn't it, gentlemen? Isn't it? Yes, it is. You worship money and you do not worship our Lord. And you know what? We can tell. We can tell by your sloppy, sacrilegious, irreverent masses. We can tell who it is that you're worried about, and it is not Christ crucified. So, the laity, uncatechized and eager for the lie of free stuff, or indifferent altogether, will not edify the clergy in truth. And again, it's all part of the conspiracy to get the people dumbed down. Compare this to the Vendee. The Vendee were the people that were going to the churches and telling the priests and the bishops, you have to stand firm, we're behind you, we're with you, do not compromise in the faith. Now, you know what most people, especially Catholics, want? You know what most Catholic women want? Hi, Catholic women. Yeah, I know you're on the pill. And you want the free pill, don't you? You want the pill on your insurance policy. Never mind that that's mortal sin. Oh, don't worry about that. You want the pill. And so you're just going to say, fiddly-dee, I don't care. And you know what? You're going to lose your civilization over this. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy so that in not bringing any children into the world, you can have the standard of living that you want. I hope you're happy when your entire civilization collapses and you're not living in the 4,000 square foot house with the granite countertops anymore, honey. Yeah, it's funny how these things all come back around. The church has been nationalized and speech censored actually for decades under the 501c tax codes. Let's call a spade a spade. The church in the United States has already been nationalized. Okay? So you cannot make any speech that is not Marxist. Okay? You can be Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton, or Jeremiah Wright, and you can get in the pulpit and you can preach Marxist politics explicitly. You can tell people how to vote explicitly. And that's no problem at all. In fact, you're considered some sort of a hero or a celebrity. But if any clergyman gets in the pulpit and says anything, and I've personally witnessed it too many times to count, you sit there and you watch these men and you can see the wheels turning in their head. Oh my gosh, what can I say? What can I not say? If I say this wrong, the IRS is going to come in and shut me down. Seriously? Seriously? Is that the level we've degraded to? Is that it? Yeah, okay, you're going to give up your divinely ordained right to freedom of speech and freedom of conscience so you can have a 501c tax exemption? That's what you worship? Pagan. In the Vendee in 1793, the war begins, citing the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, which is the Declaration of Independence, the bastardized Declaration of Independence of the French Revolution. A horrible document. But citing it itself, the Vendee said, hey, this is in your own document, boys. Any regime restricting the rights of man is abusive and must be resisted. And they said, all right, Paris, it's in your own document, it's on. Because you are restricting our rights. Nationalizing the church, forcing the priests to take these vows to the revolutionary government. Now remember that. Remember these things, those two things are basically what spurred these people to war. Hot war. Remember that. King Louis XVI had been guillotined in January of 1793. This horrified the people of the Vendee. I mean, like I said, they were largely happy under the Ancien regime, and they understood that King Louis XVI was basically a child, and they killed him. Church property has been nationalized. Revolutionary government demanded juring of clergy, thus schisming the church. Okay, there's no National Catholic Church of France, and there's not going to be a National Catholic Church of the United States. That's what Obama's going for. He's going for an American Catholic Church. That's schism, and then it's over. That's not Catholicism. It's something else. Don't kid yourself, okay? 5 out of every 6 priests refuse to jure in the Vendee. The Vendee is punished by the revolutionary government issuing a draft of 300,000 men to go fight the Prussians or whoever they were fighting in the South. Okay? This is what drove these people to war, to open hot war. USA, let's go through some points. Well, divorce is a cultural norm in the United States. Oh, okay, can you imagine even trying to outlaw divorce? Oh my goodness. 1973, Roe versus Wade legalized premeditated murder of children up until their bodies are 100% clear of the mother. You can slaughter a full-term baby in the United States with it just as long as a portion of its head is still in the birth canal. The rest of the body can be completely out. If just the crown of the head is in the birth canal, a doctor can take a pair of scissors, stab the baby right here in the back of the head, and kill it. That's your country, ladies and gentlemen, and we wonder why this is happening to us. 501c income tax laws forbid all non-Marxist political speech by clergy in the United States. We just talked about that. Obama makes gay marriage, sodomite marriage, the sacrament of marriage, the image of Jesus Christ's love for his bride, the church, manifested in our lives, is now legally sanctioned among sodomites. Ooh, that's politically incorrect. I don't give a crap. Made it the law of the land via unconstitutional executive order. What he basically said is that he has forbidden Eric Holder from enforcing the Defense of Marriage Act. That's completely unconstitutional. Obamacare mandates that all citizens, employers, and institutions pay for abortion, sterilization, contraception because it's fair, to quote the Jackal from just a few days ago. Because that's just fair. Child sacrifice and the intrinsic hatred of human life. You're paying for it. Reaction? Boys? None. Basically none. Well, we have to have dialogue, and we have to find common ground, and we have to compromise and find a workable solution. You know what the only workable solution to the problem of evil is? Complete and total extermination. You fight until it is exterminated or you are dead. There is no compromise, gentlemen. That's the chairman of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, Timothy Dolan, who is a politician to the bone. And if you don't believe me, just pull up the YouTube of him at the gay mass at St. Francis Xavier Parish in New York City. If you don't vomit, by the time you get to the end, you aren't paying attention. That is Sean Cardinal O'Malley of Boston, who just last week, I believe it was, stated that he doesn't like Obamacare because it doesn't go far enough. Yeah, Marxist, 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 Marxist. Cardinal O'Malley, my name's Ann Barnhardt. I'm in Lone Tree, Colorado. You want to talk? Anytime, baby. There's our former Archbishop Charles Chaput. Oh, Chucky. Chucky, Chucky, Chucky. Politician to the bone. Don't think we aren't noticing. We don't compromise. There is no democracy in terms of good and evil. We do not vote to decide what is true and what is not true. We do not vote to decide what is good and what is evil. Truth and good are objective realities. In fact, truth and good are constitutive qualities of God Himself. We don't vote on this. We don't vote. I put him in here. This is Cardinal Joseph Bernardin, who is dead, formerly of Chicago. This man is responsible for most of the Marxist homosexualist infiltration into the church in the latter half of the 20th century. Joseph Bernardin was an actual, I'm not kidding, honest to goodness, Satan worshiper. Yeah. Raging homosexual, raging child raper. Yeah. And engaged in black masses and satanic rituals. We have to talk about this. We can't sit around and say, well, let's just not talk about him. He's dead. Let's just cover all of this up and let's just pretend everything's happy, happy, fine, fine, good. No. How's that strategy working out for you, boys? How's that working? Why are we cowering in fear of the truth like cockroaches? Why would you ever be afraid of the truth? The truth is Jesus Christ. You run to Him. You run to Him. Proclaim it from every mountaintop. If it causes scandal, so be it. It can't be any worse than the scandal that's already happened in the church. Yeah, half the priests are homosexuals. Many of them are trying to have sex with teenage boys. How could it be any worse? Why don't we talk about this? Run to the truth, and the darkness will not comprehend it. The Obama regime will likely accomplish what the proto-Marxist French revolutionaries could not, and that is schisming the church. There's O'Malley with his buddy Obama. And that might have been at that jackal Ted Kennedy's funeral. That might be where that's from. Why did Ted Kennedy get a Catholic funeral mass? Explain that to me. That man is responsible for more deaths, not just Mary Jo Kopechne's, but deaths of the unborn than hardly anyone I can think of in this country. And he gets a Catholic funeral mass? What is wrong with you? How could you desecrate the Eucharist like that? Cardinal O'Malley. Oh, that's right, because you don't actually believe in the Eucharist, do you? No, probably not. Here's Obama getting his degree at Notre Dame with these two jackals right here. I can promise you, those two gentlemen do not believe in Jesus Christ, they do not believe in his church, they do not believe in his Mass, and they do not believe in his real presence in the Eucharist. I can guarantee you that. You say, Ann, it's very bad to stand in judgment of another man's soul. You can't know for sure. You know what? I can, because of that. It's objective evidence right in front of us. We have to talk about this. This is an interesting image. It's a little obscure. I don't know if you can see it. This is when Obama gave his address at Georgetown University, which is a Jesuit Catholic institution. Okay, he's standing on this dais, and I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to outline it right here. Do you see that? That is a triangular, what do they call that? It's kind of like a Greek triangular ornamentation up above the dais. Now you see this is all black, it's solid black. Let me tell you what about this ornamentation. Right here in the center is the monogram of Christ, which coming from Greek through Latin is IHS. IHS. Do you know what this bastard did and what Georgetown University happily complied with? They took a piece of plywood and cut it out and painted it black and inserted it in there to cover the monogram of the name of our Lord. Because he couldn't be seen. He couldn't be seen with the monogram of our Lord above him. And Georgetown, you Jesuit filth, you did that. Didn't our Lord say something about if you're embarrassed of me, I'm going to be embarrassed of you? If you reject me, I'm going to reject you? You Jesuits, you should be quaking in your boots. You should be quaking in your boots. Because if you die today and you're not confessed of that, and you're not repentant of that, it's not going to be good. It's going to be very bad for all of eternity for you. Shape up or get out. In the Vendee, the Republican Army made up of French revolutionaries, German mercenaries, and released and conscripted prison inmates is sent to the Vendee to exterminate the populace. Exterminate. People who just a few short years before would have lived and fought beside the Vendéens as fellow Frenchmen and Catholics attempted to execute a genocide against them simply because they refused to betray Christ and his church. And when I